Chapter 21. Introduction to Real Estate Appraisal. Which one of the following does not result from the immobility of land? The need for debt financing. Which one of the following factors is most likely to affect the value of residential real property in the short run? A change in mortgage interest rates. In which one of the following situations is the residual method of appraisal the most suitable method to use? Where the subject property possesses development potential. Real property is said to be more subject to the effects of externalities than most assets. This vulnerability is principally due to the immobility of land. Value in exchange is the sale price. When preparing a market value appraisal of a single-family residence, which of the following is least likely to be an acceptable valuation practice? Rely upon the income approach as the primary method of appraisal. When a property possesses latent value, it is implied that the property is not currently employed in its highest and best use. When a property possesses latent value, higher value may result through a change of use. The principle on which the comparative approach of appraisal is based is substitution. A real estate appraiser would not value the legal interest in cattle on agricultural land. Why is the submarket for single-family residences considered to be more perfect than other real estate submarkets? There is a more abundant flow of market information relating to current prices. An acquaintance of yours has approached you and wants to know why the bank that may finance his purchase of a house requires an appraisal. He claims that since an appraisal is not required for an investment in stocks, an appraisal should not be required for an investment in real property. Which of the following statements provides the best reasoning for your support of the bank's requirement? It is difficult to find real properties that are very much alike. Before valuing a house, an appraiser should assume that the registered owner is not the ultimate source of data on the property. Which of the following is not a significant characteristic of improved land? Indivisibility of ownership. In conducting an appraisal, a market analysis is undertaken covering a range of factors. Which of the following is not a reason for including a market analysis in an appraisal report? To reconcile the market value. An acquaintance of yours is about to purchase an income-producing property and asks your opinion of the property value. You wisely recommend that she have an appraisal done, but she counters by saying, since appraisers in British Columbia are not required to be licensed, it must be a straightforward process that could be done by anyone. Why should I pay someone for an appraisal? Which of the following is not a reason for hiring a professional appraiser? Real property is short-lived. It is easy to account for changes over time. The residual method of appraisal is the most suitable method for use where the subject property has latent value. The flow of information concerning real property is limited and difficult to collect because real property markets are local, with real estate fixed in location. Which one of the following is not an appraisal approach method? The depreciation approach. Which of the following statements is true? The market value of real property as determined by an experienced appraiser may be greater than the ceiling price of the buyer. Which one of the following does not form part of the definition of market value? Value is based on the personal opinion of the value to the owner. In the context of appraisal, which one of the following properties is most likely to possess latent value? A farmhouse situated on land zoned for commercial use. Which of the following people may not require an appraisal of real property? A strata council. With respect to the valuation of real property, value to the owner is most often required to be estimated in the context of investment analysis. Two neighbors, Ms. Finch and Mr. Falcon, each sold their homes last week. Ms. Finch sold her house for $150,000, while Mr. Falcon's house only sold for $132,000. Both houses are identical in all respects that are important to buyers. Which of the following could account for the difference in selling price? Mr. Falcon had already purchased another home and needed to sell this home immediately. A potential buyer is aware of the asking price for a particular house listed for sale. Which of the following statements is normally false? The seller is likely to know the buyer's ceiling price. Two identical houses located next to one another in the same neighborhood sell within 1 week of each other. Ms. Brown sells hers for $112,000, while Mr. Fisher is only able to sell his for $100,000. Which of the following could account for the difference in selling price? The listing brokerage representing Ms. Brown spent an extraordinary amount of money on advertising her property. An appraiser is looking for comparables to use in valuing a single-family residence. Which of the following sales could provide good evidence of market value to the appraiser? A similar house in the neighborhood sold last month after having been listed for 2 months. Marissa owns a 45-year-old apartment building. All 6 suites are rented out at below-market rents, and the current leases are not up for renewal for another 2 years. The apartment building is situated in a block in which all of the other apartment buildings have been torn down and replaced with office buildings. In addition, the apartment is situated on land zoned for commercial purposes. Which of the following statements is true about the state of Marissa's investment? Marissa's apartment possesses latent value. Which of the following is an example of a short-term national general economic factor? Interest rates on Treasury bills. The subject of an appraisal is the value of the legal rights of ownership vested in a particular piece of real estate. Which of the following statements is true? 1. The presence of a special buyer in a sales transaction will greatly extend the range of possible bids. 2. Real property markets are local by nature, due to the immobility of real property. 3. The neighborhood an appraiser should consider when doing an appraisal may not be limited to the subdivision in which the property is located. The correct answer is all of the above. Which appraisal approach method would be most suitable to appraise a new pulp mill in Squamish? Cost. Of the following externalities, which would represent the best example of an externality that is both positive and negative? Proximity to a transportation facility. Which of the following transactions is the best evidence of market value to an appraiser? A prefabricated home situated in a large subdivision of similar homes is sold after 3 months on the market. In developing a real property appraisal, which of the following statements regarding scope of work determination is false? The appraiser need not know the report's intended use since the client is the one paying for the report and would know its purpose. Which of the following is a key determinant of the value of a property? Rights of ownership. In the context of appraisal, which one of the following properties is most likely to possess latent value? A single-family residence that is the only house on the block not yet converted to the commercial use that is permitted by zoning. When a bidder's ceiling price for a lot is $30,500 and the owner's floor price is $32,500, a sale cannot take place. The income approach is generally not used for the valuation of single-family residences. A property that is not employed in its highest and best use possesses latent value. Which one of the following statements regarding appraisal is true? The complexity of real estate as a product requires the involvement of an expert appraiser. Which of the following statements is false? An appraisal mistake of $3,000 on a $276,000 house is beyond the margin of allowable error. All other things being equal, a selling price less than the market value of a property is most likely to be obtained in a sale when real estate prices are increasing very quickly. The market value of a vacant site can be determined using the comparative approach of appraisal. Real property is affected by external influences from neighboring properties. What characteristic of real estate causes this? Real property is immobile. Sally, an appraiser, has been asked to provide an estimate of the market value of a farmhouse and the surrounding property. Which one of the following would not affect her estimate of market value? The owner of the farmhouse is anxious to move and would like to sell as soon as possible. Which of the following results from the immobility of land? A piece of land is zoned as parkland, thereby increasing the value of nearby homes. For which one of the following properties would an appraiser be most justified in employing the cost approach to determine market value? A newly constructed church of contemporary design. Which of the following might be the subject of a real property appraisal? Airspace rights. Under which one of the following conditions is the comparative approach of appraisal most applicable? Where buyers and sellers are well informed about current sales transactions. Which of the following properties would be most suitable for an appraisal by the comparative approach? A 2-bedroom unit in a 4-year-old condominium. The building is a concrete high-rise and is in an area where an abundance of similar units are marketed. Joan was considering putting in an offer on a farm in Peachland, British Columbia for $130,000, subject to arranging suitable financing. She approached Peachy Credit Union for pre-approval of a mortgage loan, and Peachy hired A&A appraisers to determine the value of the farm for mortgage purposes. A&A appraised the property at $135,000, and Peachy Credit Union approved a mortgage loan of $101,250 to Joan, who then went ahead with the purchase. 11 months later, the bank was forced to foreclose on the property and, upon obtaining another appraisal, found that the market value of the property was only $70,000. It is found that A&A was negligent in its appraisal report. What remedies, if any, are available to Joan and Peachy Credit Union? Peachy Credit Union can sue A&A for breach of contract, and Joan can sue A&A under tort law.